It's interesting to be doing a talk around issues of social justice and equity this morning because last night the city of Charleston experienced a hate crime in a faith community where 9 people were killed. My heart is heavy. I desperately long for the day where people can go to their synagogues and their mosques and their churches or to their local tree and gather and not be killed because of the color of their skin or some other part of their identity. But what I know for sure is that this is an elephant that needs to be eaten one bite at a time. I really believe that we can do better. And this is my effort to take responsibility to bite out of the elephant. It will not solve all of the problems on our campus, but I sure hope that what it does is equip this generation to be able to better negotiate when they step in the poop of multiculturalism. So tell me this. Remember the last time you hurt somebody in your life? You said something that hurt their feelings, you did something that offended them, that you may even have told something that was in the vault. Remember that? How did you feel? Not good. Not good? Sucky. Sucky. That's my favorite technical term. Embarrassed? Defensive? Ashamed? Sick? It's what you felt, right? Here's what's true. That thing gets even multiplied when you find yourself in the multicultural poop. My hope today is in the next 15 minutes that we can normalize the fact that we'll all step in it at some point in time, and that you'll have a skill or two to help you the next time that you feel that shame, sick, sucky, embarrassing piece, to be able to move and heal that rupture in a way that really protects the integrity of that relationship. So most times when we think about someone being racist or homophobic, heterosexist, ableist, whatever the case may be, this is what comes up for us, right? Or maybe it's this, Fred Phelps and his gang. But what's true is I believe that all of us are a little bit fill in the blank. Sexist, homophobic, heterosexist, ableist, or maybe even racist. Science lets us know that in 1989, psychologists did a study with resumes with being exactly the same. Black man, white man, pictures on it, same age, the whole 9 yards. 60% of the people more likely went with the white applicant. The same is true for scientists when they're trying to fill the position of a lab assistant, and one resume indicates the applicant is John, and the other is Jennifer, and the criteria is the same. John is more likely picked in that science lab. The same is true for police. When they are put in a situation when they're trying to decipher who has a gun or a cell phone, they're more likely to erroneously kill the African American person with the cell phone than they are with a gun. I believe that lives in all of us. Because what's true is that our brain is consistently trying to take in multiple pieces of information and make meaning of that. And the way that we do that is by clumping and clustering, because it's rapid. You know that this is yellow, you know that this is white. You know that because you've learned that, right? But also your brain is taking that in a very, very rapid pace and trying to make meaning of it. And so at some level, we all hold a bias. Now, what makes this complex is when you say that was racist, what happens for you? Nobody's like, woo! I was just called a racist. That's not quite how it happens, right? Typically what happens is you end up feeling sucky, shame, afraid, defensive. The same things that you feel when you hurt people in other situations. You're going to do this. I have to normalize this for you. Because I think, particularly in our politically correct culture, what people believe is that they ought not make a mistake. I want to let you off the hook. You will make a mistake. And it is part of being socialized in our culture. I have internalized racism. I have black boys that are my sons. I sleep with a black man, a big burly black man, every single night. And I love those men, my father, my brother. But what's true is that every now and then, I can be in a situation that I find myself grabbing my purse. And so I know that if that is true for me, and that I have my own internalized racism, that that has to be true for others. Now, this is not let you off the hook to say, oh, just go out there. You can't help it. It's science. You're blame clusters. It's unconscious, unintentional, implicit. That's true. But the goal is to get you to a place where that happens less and less and less for you. Frequently, when people step in the multicultural poop, they get focused on, well, that's not how I meant it. It was just a joke. Or you're being too sensitive. Or why is this even a big deal? But I submit to you that if I right now slapped Corey across the face because there was a fly on his face, my intent was to remove that fly. But my guess is the pain of that slap would probably hurt the same way. Because it's one of those situations where my intent was to protect him from the fly. But the impact was, ouch. Don't be hyper-focused on what your intent was, because your intent might not equal your impact. Empires have risen and fallen on people making multicultural mistakes. We've seen it in our current kind of zeitgeist that we're in this moment in time. Think Paula Deen. If they had been able to figure out how to respond in a way that really helped bring some healing to that particular rupture, I guarantee you, I really believe that the situation would have turned out differently for them. And Paula Deen would not be on a webcast right now. She'd be back on the Food Network. And that same thing can happen for you. So when you step in the multicultural poop, I want to encourage you to go black. First thing, breathe. Don't freak out. Remember, this is absolutely, positively normal. That this is going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. Say to yourself whatever you need to say to yourself to remember this particular moment. Hear in your head saying, okay, I'm not supposed to freak out, right? Don't freak out. The second thing is L, listen. Because 9 times out of 10, the person who is on the end of whatever the microaggression was may be able to articulate to you what was wrong or what happened or how they were impacted by that. I'll give you a small example from my own life recently. So my son and his family were in from California last week, and we went to the supermarket because that's what moms do. You all go and, go to cereal, get whatever you want, on and on and on, right? So we started to pay, and I went to swipe my card to pay, and the person at the checkout woman says, "Oh, is that an EBT card?" So for those of you who don't know what an EBT card is, it's the card that it is associated with how people pay when they're using food stamps. But that's my life, right? And so in that moment, it could have been that it looked like an EBT card to her. It was the same color. I don't know, because I'm not sure what they look like at this moment in time. Or she could have made the association because it was me, my kids, it was just me and my son and his wife, that because we were African American, that we were using food stamps, and that was the association because she had clumped together that information. So my question back to her was, I'm really curious on why you thought that we were using an EBT card. Now, I could have gone on and on and on and on about that, but I did not. But my guess is that she went red. So my guess is that she was feeling ashamed, defensive, freaking out, sucky, was the other term that was used. And I didn't have a need to berate her or overly objectify her as a perpetrator. But I just needed that question to be asked. And so when you feel that, again, don't freak out and listen. Because my question was enough of embedded in it is, for real? Like, I see you. And that was not okay. Listen twice as much as you talk. Do not, for the love, contextualize it. That you are frequently tempted to explain, well, I said it because of this, or it was because at that moment in time, the person who is on the end of it, who's been microaggressed against, it doesn't matter. The way to heal that is to listen, and then even maybe paraphrase what you've heard them say. I heard you say this, I heard you say this is why you're offended by that, et cetera, et cetera. Apologize as quickly as you can. And an unequivocal apology. Well, I said it because of this, or because of that. I'm sorry. I take full responsibility. My intent was not to hurt you, but I see that I have. And that sickens me. That makes me feel sucky. And so you go to your vulnerability place with them as well, because then you're both out there together being vulnerable. Once you do that, you move to the C. What can I do to make this different or better? And in different situations, that is different. The person may want just the apology, that's enough. That you may have an agreement that if something else happens and you notice that something is up, that you'll say something to them first. It could be a systemic issue that you may need to issue an email, some type of statement to help move the situation along a little bit more, or some other corrective action. They may want margaritas, I don't know. But it would be up to the person who is offended to let you know that this is what will help me. This is what I need in order for us to heal this rupture, in order for me to trust again. So here's my question for you. What are your blind spots? I sure hate it when somebody points out my Christian privilege. I don't like it, but I know it's true, and so I do what I can to try to interrupt it. I'm heterosexually married. I hold that privilege. And privilege is like air, right? You don't always know. Where are you blind? Where do you struggle? And by the very nature of this, you may not know that immediately, but I encourage you to sit with that question and answer it for yourself, and then do the work that you need to do so that you don't step into the multicultural poop as frequently. I also want to encourage you to remember, the next time that you step in the poop, go Black. Thank you.